So because you've gotten to play in so many different fields, what would you say has been your best performing marketing system that you've built?
So this is a great question, and I would say this is. I have an interesting answer to this, but my answer really starts with my best performing marketing system is a job well done, and by that nothing performs better than if you have wowed an existing client, both retains that client, so now your acquisition costs are lower because you don't probably have to duplicate that. And they end up doing the selling for you. So they become your marketing system because they're referring you business on their own merit without you ever asking. So a job well done for sure. Best performing marketing tactic for sure. But if it comes to systems, I think going a layer underneath that, Candace, is going to be about my specific and spicy blend of curiosity, of empathy, of integrity, and professionalism. Like all of that are the things that make me who I am beyond the tangible deliverable that I'm providing. So if I've been hired to rewrite a website, just as an example, with the AI element, that has largely been commoditized. So if a client is still paying you thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars even to rewrite something that they could probably lean on Chatty for, just as an example, you got something special. You know that you're doing something that matters. You got to tap into what that is. So that's like my second level answer to that question. And then underneath that, if we're talking about actual systems or tools, if everything has to feed, okay, what does a job well done look like for me? The best marketing tools are the ones that support that, that help me perform at that level. So when I was thinking about Scrappy Systems as a whole, and looking at my tools, I already have a pretty slim tech stack compared to most people. But the ones that I thought about for this particularly would involve Calendly, MailerLite, and Typeform. You've probably heard of all three or have used some of those, but those are three of the ones that I fancy quite the most. They do help me perform at the highest rate because almost every time someone has access to my Calendly links, like a call is scheduled. And that's a conversion just in terms of what that tool is designed to do. So like conversion rate is like super high when it comes to that. Almost every time I send that out, 99.9% of the time, so person's gonna book it. So it's a great tool to have, like from a performance standpoint, probably the highest one. And then with MailerLite, I was looking at my open rates and they are around 49%. I have
Mm.
around 660 something people on my email list, and it's been that way for probably around on average up and down for the last year or so. And so I have that rate, and then the click through rate changes depending on if I have a campaign or not. Sometimes I write emails with nothing to click on in them. So, that would be a 0% click through rate. So I'm just looking at the open rates really. And then I know with Video Ask, which is made by Typeform, like that helps me begin to build that know and trust factor with people because of the asynchronous exchange when they visit my website.
Okay. Can you explain a little bit about how it works, that it helps you do those underlying things of build the relationship, like you were saying?
Yeah, sure. So Calendly is going to be around, okay, finding those perfect times to meet between two or more parties and like how everything was before Calendly. Oh, Candace, you want to meet? Okay, boom. Now we got to find a time. We might send 10 emails like to meet virtually just to get to know one another, just as an example. But now it's just no, okay, you can see my calendar. I can make it available or whatever I want you to see around my calendar, and then you can pick what works for you. So that I love that solves the problem of finding the time to meet while not having to send all of those emails. So like time efficiency goes way up. And then if I can have those multiple event types in my account, oh, okay, Candace gets this type of calendar, or I'm only sending this out because she's this type of person. And it doesn't conflict with all of my other calendars. So I don't got to think about that. There's no scheduling conflicts anymore. There is no notification. It allows, I think, that part of meeting, of setting a designated point in time and in space to be like as effortless as possible on both parties. And I just love that tool like in that way. And I think and we talked about this before, I think this was last year, Candace, around like that side benefit of having something like Calendly is, well, it low key is also helping me grow my list because I have a question on there talking about, okay, just as a simple example, I appreciate you filling out this form. To thank you, I'd love to send you some value that you might find in your inbox. Is it okay to do that? Just as an example. And then if I do get that permission, it's boom, wow, you're growing my list. And that's not something that I thought about using that tool in that way. Like when I first started, that's like another kind of challenge it has of how do you ask someone to join your list in a way that feels right to them, but at the
Mm.
right point of that interaction, because you haven't met them yet. But if you've provided enough value, shown enough professionalism prior to the point of sending you the link, most of the time they're going to be okay with that.